It's exciting to be in a room full of people who are as passionate about Chinese language learning as I am. I've been in the Utah State Senate for 26 years. My wife calls it 26 long years. All of the hundreds of pieces of legislation I've sponsored and one passage for, there is none that makes me more proud than those regarding language learning. As you know, legislation is not self-implementing. And our success in dual language immersion here in Utah would not have happened without those from the Utah State Board of Education, the school district leaders, principals, teachers, parents, and students. Would all of those who are associated with Utah dual language immersion stand and be recognized right now? Thank you, because they are the ones that made it happen. I would also like to thank the Confucius Institute for the Hanban teachers who are crucial to the success we've had here. Having spent hundreds of hours with Confucius Institute leaders, knowing how Hanban candidates are selected and trained by our Utah State Board of Education staff, and I have complete confidence in the Hanban teachers and impressed with how committed they are to implementing Utah's core in math and science. My passion for language learning began 18 years ago when I was asked to speak at a conference in Beijing. There were 1,000 college students there at a conference on the nuclear family and how important it is to the future of society. A third of those 1,000 students were from Russia, a third from the US, and a third from China. As I spent 4 days with them, it became very obvious that the Chinese students were all dual language. Most of them spoke fluent English, and yet the Russian and American students were not dual language, and they were mostly pointed inward at themselves. They were cliquish. These Chinese students were head and shoulders above the other students. I wanted that for America, and particularly Utah students. Later, my son Dan attended Tsinghua University. He was also part of that high school group who was not bilingual, but he took Chinese at the University of Utah and then got the scholarship at Tsinghua University, and for 2 years, he enjoyed living and working in China so much that he stayed 8 years more. I tell you, I could not be more pleased with how this has changed him and our family. As I watched my son's language skills improve, I saw an increasing number of opportunities open up for him that would never have existed before. Not only has this increased his intellect, his confidence and employability, but happily it has also increased his compassion and empathy. I, like you, want these things for all of our children. That's why, even though I'm leaving the Senate at the end of this year, I'm not nearly done advocating for language learning, especially Chinese language learning. Never in the history of the United States has it been more important to communicate clearly with China. At this time, we should be making every effort to increase access to Chinese language learning for all U.S. students. I'm dedicating my energy to ensure that bilingualism becomes the rule rather than the exception. Monolingualism is the illiteracy of the 21st century, and we need to declare war on it. As I've spoken around the nation regarding Utah's dual language immersion program, I've often heard, well, in Utah it's easy because you have this Mormon culture with their outreach and their missionary program. Of course you have students sign up for that. But I admit that cultures are different state to state. But one thing I have found common with all parents is that they want the best for their children. And I don't care whether those parents are xenophobic or whatever it is. When they hear that there's a lottery for 60 slots in that elementary first grade and their child might be left out, it's like last year when their child was left out of soccer, they slept in front of the Parks and Recreation office to make sure they didn't miss out on soccer again. And the same thing happens when there's this lottery for those 60 slots in that elementary school. And it will cause you to expand those slots so that you can meet that supply. Funding and additional legislation is not easy to obtain, so I'm making myself available for those in other states. To the extent I can be useful, I will speak whenever invited. I will reach out to legislators, governors, and school boards. I want to be your resource as I leave the legislature, your advocate for advancing language learning programs in your state. Please let me know how I can be of assistance. Now it's my distinct privilege to introduce to you the All-American Governor. Gary Herbert started out as an All-American boy. He was student body president. He was quarterback of the football team, point guard. And then he went into real estate, and then he went into public service, where he was a county commissioner in Utah County, which has the lowest cost per citizen of any urban county in America. He then ran for lieutenant governor with our Mandarin-speaking governor, John M. Huntsman, Jr., and they together helped us get that legislation through initially and helped make sure that it continues to this day. We continue to expand, and we're not expanding fast enough, in my opinion, until we make sure that every student whose children want to be in dual language immersion have that opportunity. Please help me welcoming our governor, Gary R. Herbert.
Well, thank you, Senator Stevenson. I appreciate that more than generous introduction, and thanks for your comments. Let me, as governor of the great state of Utah, make sure that we welcome all of you here to our state. We hope you enjoy your stay here. Not only have an enjoyable time, but a very productive time. And know that anything that our office, that the governor's office can do to help, we're certainly willing to step forward and assist you. So I think this is really an important conference, and I appreciate the comments to Senator Stevenson about the need for us to be more dual language. And certainly with the global marketplace of today, we're interdependent, we interconnect. And sometimes the barrier that stops us from connecting well is the language barrier. I'll talk about in a minute here our international trade, but you all can appreciate that when we're halfway around the world from, say, China, that's a long distance to go, but the most important distance is the last 3 feet where we meet eyeball to eyeball and speak with one another. That's the importance of being able to communicate, and communication really necessitates us speaking the same language. So I thank you for what the National Chinese Language Conference is about and for what you're doing. Let me mention that, again, as the governor of the great state, I wear a number of hats in my responsibility. One of the hats I wear is what they call the CBO of Utah. That stands for the Chief Bragging Officer of Utah. And there's a lot of things to be proud of and brag about. The famous Hall of Fame pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, Dizzy Dean. Some of you are probably maybe old enough to remember Dizzy Dean. But he said it's not bragging if it's true. And what I'm going to tell you about Utah is, in fact, true. We'll have, in fact, the Department of Labor statistics will come out tomorrow. I happen to have an advance copy of the numbers. I can't say anything to you, but I can tell you that our unemployment rate in Utah will be one of the lowest in the nation. Our GDP growth, our creation of private sector jobs will be one of the highest in the nation, double the national average. And so our economy now is one of the most diverse, if not the most diverse economy in America here in Utah. A lot of reasons for that, the great work of our legislators that make sure that we don't spend more than we take in when our revenue stream. We are very fiscally prudent. We're identified as the most fiscally stable state in America, one of only 9 states that have a AAA bond rating from the rating agencies on Wall Street. Our efficiency in state government, we've been recognized as the best managed state in America. So accolades that come from proper management of the taxpayers' resources and an empowerment of the private sector to grow the economy. That's happening in a significant way as we, in fact, work together with our private sector friends and the entrepreneurs to have them to be successful. One of the areas, though, that we're having incredibly good success, which is not talked about as much, but should be, and that's in our international trade. We have a significant effort for international trade in our state. And as Senator Stevenson has kind of alluded to, we have kind of a leg up. We have some opportunities to take advantage of the culture of Utah, which is unique. The headquarters, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, often referred to as the Mormons, is here. And so with nearly 2/3 of our population being Mormon, there is a lot of international missionary work that goes on. For example, in my family, my one son speaks Spanish, my sister speaks German, my sister-in-law speaks Spanish, my son-in-law speaks Romanian, my nephew speaks Russian, my son speaks Norwegian, and my granddaughter speaks Mandarin Chinese. That's just my family, and I'm pretty typical to what a lot of families in Utah are. And what happens with this international missionary effort and our international trade is you go and you live with people for a couple of years, you get to know them, you understand their culture, you speak the language, and you come back and you love the people that you served with. That's a formula for success when it comes to international business and international trade. We speak here in the state of Utah over 130 languages. We are the most dual language, multi-language state area in the world, right here in the great state of Utah. We just had, in fact, and one of our legislators, about 20, here a couple of weeks ago that just returned from a trade mission, in fact, to China. We have a trade mission about every year that goes to some part of China to, in fact, foster networking capabilities and the ability for us, in fact, to do trade. Because of the efforts of our legislature and our Board of Education, those involved that you've already kind of recognized, we now have the highest percentage of students learning Mandarin Chinese in school of any state. 20% of all the Mandarin Chinese being taught in America is being taught in Utah. That's 1 in 5 of those learning Mandarin Chinese are being taught in the state of Utah. Now think of America, 320 million people. Utah, 3.1 million people, and yet 20% of those learning Mandarin Chinese are here in our state. That shows you how important we think learning Mandarin Chinese is, along with the other languages that we teach. Mandarin Chinese is, we have 93 schools that are offering Mandarin Chinese as part of their curriculum, and 47 are Chinese immersion schools that's what they speak from their kindergarten through graduation, Mandarin Chinese. Again, I think that the opportunity we have to have international trade should not be overstated. We in Utah are taking a little bit more of an independent path than maybe some in our country, and certainly some of the rhetoric that comes out of Washington, D.C. We believe that international trade is, in fact, good. As we network with people, as we understand each other and our cultures, we become friendly, and we develop trust. And what happens is we have economic exchange is not only to build up trust, but we bring stability to the world. So the outcropping, the intended consequence of what we do with this bilingual study and ability to, in fact, to have international trade is good for the world. And a world that needs a little more stability comes with the ability for us to communicate accurately with one another and do some international trade. So I applaud all those who are working hard on this issue because of the good work of many people here and outside of this building. We will find in the 2018-2019 school year, the one coming up, we'll have 43,000 students here in Utah learning their choice of 6 languages in dual language immersion programs in our state. We have the largest per capita number of students enrolled in dual language immersion in the United States, with 12,349 students in Chinese dual language immersion programs alone. So as we understand the needs of what is now a global marketplace, the ability for us to communicate is becoming more important than ever before. So let me again welcome you to the state of Utah and thank you for what you're doing, which is significantly important for our respective states in America, for the countries around the world, for our Utah-Chinese relationships, and we appreciate the good work of you. I do want to pass, again, a thank you to not only our state legislature for the work they're doing, but my former partner, John Huntsman Jr., who was the former governor before me here, and as you know, the ambassador to China. His work has really opened many doors for us to have better relationships in international trade with the great country of China. So we thank John Huntsman for his leadership and his bringing us to this point today. So thank you very much. Welcome to Utah. Good luck and God bless.
Please welcome the Vice President of Education and the Director of the Center for Global Education for Asia Society, Tony Jackson.
掌声有请亚洲协会副会长、亚协全球教育中心主任 Tony Jackson 先生。
Well, good evening, and thank you very much, Governor, for those remarks, and for Senator Stevenson. We really appreciate being here in Utah and your contribution. But welcome and hello to everybody here. I'm actually thrilled to stand before you at the 11th Annual National Chinese Language Conference. Some of you may know I've been at Asia Society for 15 years now, and I'll tell you that this conference is always one of the true highlights of the year for me, and I hope as well for you. And to be here in Utah, which has perhaps more than any other state, as we've just heard, developed amazing opportunities for young people to learn Mandarin Chinese, that's a special joy unto itself. So again, thank you, Governor Herbert and Senator Stevenson, for your leadership and for contributing to our evening here tonight. One of the things that makes this conference so special is the partnerships that we at the Center for Global Education at Asia Society have with other organizations that make this all possible. And with that in mind, I want to express my deep gratitude to our colleagues from the College Board for this partnership, which has lasted so well for these 10 years. I also very definitely want to thank Hanban for its support and partnership, and again, from the very beginning of this work over the past decade. I want particularly to welcome Mr. Zhao Guizheng, the Executive Deputy Director General of Hanban, coming back to Hanban and also from other responsibilities in government, but also back to the United States. So we're very, very honored to have you here with us and look forward to your remarks and contribution to this conference. We also actually consider the sponsors and the exhibitors that support this conference to be our partners as well. And I want to thank them for being here in such strength. We have more than 50 publishers and developers and service providers with us this year. And so all of you really must take the opportunity to see what they have for us in the exhibit hall during the conference. Now, we gather here for this 11th Annual National Chinese Language Conference when the U.S.-China relationship is at a pivotal point. It seems there isn't a day that goes by where the balance of power and interests between these two great nations isn't really front-page news. And while I do not think that the fundamental convergence of these two countries' interests for their own long-term good and for the good of the world has changed, there is clearly some level of uncertainty in the day-to-day dynamics of the U.S.-China relationship. And that uncertainty, of course, is played out in a world of uncertainty, a world that is more fractured along national and religious and ethnic and cultural lines than in any other time, certainly during my lifetime, and that's getting to be a long time. I'm getting old. As many of you have heard me say before, we do indeed now live in a VUCA world, V-U-C-A, meaning volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So this generation of Americans and Chinese will have many challenges of unprecedented scale and impact in what they do by themselves and also what they do together. And what you do as their teachers becomes ever more critical. All of you are preparing the next generation of stewards of the U.S.-China relationship, not just those who will become the diplomats, but I think even more importantly, of those youth who will determine how well we live together and work together in the day-to-day discourse of commerce, of science, of technology and security, and the many other ways in which the United States and China are irreparably connected. In your programs that teach young Americans Chinese language and culture and that connect to young Chinese students through exchange and technology, you are developing these students' global competence, the ability to understand and to act on issues of global significance. Now, I think many of you know that Asian Society has been a leader in identifying the essential knowledge, skills, and dispositions that define global competence, most definitely including learning one or more languages beyond one's home language, and in developing the professional development resources to enable educators to foster global competence in their students. And that's been the mission of the Center for Global Education at Asian Society for nearly 2 decades, to build the awareness of decision makers on the importance of global competence and language learning, and the capacity of educators to teach for global competence and language learning, to ensure that youth have what they need to be successful and thrive within a global economy, as the governor was pointing out, but also within today's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. We've been doing that through our Chinese language initiative, which is so ably led by Jeff Wong and his absolutely stellar team, through a host of other programs here and globally. And that work itself is actually at a pivotal point as well, in the sense that after nearly 2 decades, we've amassed a really unprecedented and unequaled body of experience and professional resources toward building the capacity of teachers to foster global competence. And we are ready and eager now to take that work to a vastly greater level of scale. At the core of that work is an effort in partnership with Arizona State University to create a suite of initially 10 online professional development workshops that provide teachers the understanding and the pedagogical tools to systematically teach for global competence in their classrooms. These are highly interactive, effective, and efficient online courses that teachers can access on demand and learn when and where they want. And through these online courses and a deep catalog of other online resources, our goal is to ultimately reach tens of thousands of teachers across the world, and through them, millions of students, certainly by the year 2030, which of course is the year that we hope to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals set forward by the United Nations. So I hope at some point you'll have a chance to look at our website and learn more about these resources for yourselves, but also for the other teachers in your schools who, with you, need to be part of this movement in this country and the world to develop globally competent, language-proficient youth. Ultimately, the point of developing global competence in youth is to enable young people to exercise sound judgment so that uncertainty becomes opportunity for the common good. With learning of language, one acquires understanding and appreciation for history and culture of the people, and that's the basis for good judgment for the future that lies ahead. So as we begin this 11th National Chinese Language Conference, I want most of all to thank you, all of the educators in this room. This is your conference. My boss, the president of Asian Society, Josette Sheeran, who was formerly the vice chair of Davos, calls this the Davos for Chinese Language Education. We are here to celebrate you and your students. You have hundreds of sessions to choose from in the coming days, and more importantly, or just as importantly certainly, hundreds of people to connect with. and to learn and to see the world from their perspective. That's the essence of global competence, and that's what we aspire for this conference to achieve. But before I close, I want to bring to your attention one other thing that I hope you'll consider doing at this conference, in fact, tonight. Asia Society's Why Speak Chinese video contest encourages Chinese language learners to share powerful stories and via social media about their language journey and why they have chosen to learn Chinese. So to date, we've received 113 video submissions to compete for the grand prize of round-trip tickets to China. And we've now selected 3 finalists representing some of the most well-liked and interesting videos. So you now have a chance to help select the winner for Why Speak Chinese by visiting www.whyspeakchinese.org to vote for your favorite. But you have to do it soon. In fact, the voting only lasts until 9:40 tonight. So after the conference, after this session, or maybe even during dinner, between courses, between bites, they're very short, you can do this. I hope you'll have a chance to look at the videos and vote for your favorite. This is going to be a great meeting, but I can't leave the stage without recognizing the person on our staff who is most responsible for its greatness, and that's Yang Guo. Yang has done a truly remarkable job in planning every aspect of this conference, along with colleagues from the College Board. So I'm going to ask you to join me in a round of applause for Yang and her work. I can't see her, she's out there, but I want to make sure that she knows that we really appreciate what she's done. So with that, I'm going to just again welcome you all and wish you a wonderful National Chinese Language Conference and an opportunity to really connect with each other, to learn, and to make those associations that will hopefully last well beyond this conference. So thank you very much, and I look forward to working with you over the next few days.
掌声有请大学理事会国际部副主席 Linda 刘女士。
Please welcome the Vice President of International for the College Board, Linda Liu.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, we can do better than that. We are in such a beautiful city here, Salt Lake City. You know, I've been wanting to come to Salt Lake City since 2002. Anybody remember what happened in 2002 in Salt Lake City? That's right, you did your homework before coming. And it's, you know, for me, it's so wonderful to come back to the National Chinese Language Conference, and particularly this year that it's in Salt Lake City, because I've heard so much from my colleagues about the outstanding work that the state is doing in dual language immersion education. And you know, as you've heard today from both Senator Stevenson as well as Governor Herbert, Utah is truly a trailblazer and an innovator in this area. I had an opportunity earlier today to visit Draper Elementary School, and I was able to see their dual language immersion program in practice. And I must say it was both humbling and also impressive. Humbling because first graders and second graders were able to speak Chinese way better than I could, and impressive for that very same reason. So in my role managing the College Board's international work, I have an opportunity to visit schools around the world and talk about our programs like Advanced Placement, or AP. The one thing that students and educators usually ask me is how to best prepare to take rigorous courses like AP. So remember, these are students outside of the US, and so usually the first thing I say is proficiency in English. And the schools who do the best job at helping students gain advanced proficiency in English are those who think about it not as a standalone course, but rather as an immersive experience where they are teaching course subjects like math, science, and the arts in English. So it is particularly heartening for me to see innovative states like Utah implementing this at scale through the state's dual language immersion program. So Governor Herbert, I know you've left, and Senator Stevenson, thank you for your leadership of this work and really for hosting us in this wonderful city this year. The state of Utah has been a really wonderful host and partner in planning this conference, and we're just so honored to be here with you today. I also want to acknowledge two leaders from the College Board who are also with us this evening. Marcia Hunt, Marcia is a member of the College Board's Board of Trustees and is Director of College and Academic Advising at Pinecrest School in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Thank you so much for being here, Marcia, and supporting our work. And also my great friend, James Montoya, Chief of Membership, Governance, and Global Higher Education and Secretary of the Corporation. Jim has been a tireless supporter of the College Board's Chinese Language and Culture Initiative since its inception more than a decade ago. So Jim, thank you for being here as well. You know, last year was the first time I participated in the National Chinese Language Conference, and I really didn't know what to expect last year, but this year I feel like quite the pro here. And so what I'm going to do is not speak Chinese in front of a room full of Chinese language experts who can clearly discern that I have a Cantonese accent, especially when I follow two students who are clearly mastering the language. Let's give them another round of applause for the wonderful job that they did tonight. And for both of you, congratulations on completing your AP exams. I wish I could say that I can help you with your scores, but I am sure that you need no help. So the theme of this year's conference is from classrooms to careers. So just for fun, I did a quick search on LinkedIn to see how many jobs in the US asked for Chinese language proficiency in their job description. And this answer may actually surprise you, because it did surprise me. So it's 395,000 jobs in the US. Wow, yep. So now, many of these jobs are teaching positions, but there were also a fair number of positions in market research and healthcare, financial services, and a host of other industries. And to help students be prepared to take advantage of these career opportunities and meet the needs of an increasingly complex and globally interconnected world, as you've heard others speak about tonight, educators really need to take an interdisciplinary approach to learning. For example, students who are learning Chinese and want to pursue a career in healthcare need to learn how to engage in Chinese using technical terms in the field. And you as educators, I know, are already taking these interdisciplinary approaches through dual language immersion programs, but also through other approaches. I had an opportunity to look at this year's program, and I saw many sessions that focused on this theme of interdisciplinary learning, such as incorporating STEM into Chinese classrooms, planning interdisciplinary units, and language through drama, just to name a few of the sessions that you can look forward to during the conference. So educators really need to be at the forefront of this thinking and put in the time, effort, and resources to put these ideas into practice. Yet I'm sure many of you are well aware, time and resources are what none of us ever have enough of. At the College Board, our focus is on clearing a path for students to own their future, and we see our programs as vehicles for motivating students to practice the skills that matter the most for college and career success. But it is quite clear to us that we cannot do this work without partnering with those of you who are in schools and classrooms every day. As such, we are constantly trying to think through how we can better support the work that educators do and enable you to spend your time focusing on innovative approaches to learning so that we can all empower students to own their future. I want to share with you a couple of things that we are doing along these lines. First, starting in the 2019-2020 school year, the College Board will be launching a whole new set of additional resources and supports for teachers and students across all of our AP courses, including AP Chinese Language and Culture. If any of you were at the AP Annual Conference last year, you will have heard Trevor Packer, our Senior Vice President for AP and Instruction, liken these new resources and supports to providing a teaching assistant for AP teachers. How wonderful, a teaching assistant. These new resources and supports are based on what teachers have told us they really need to help students learn. They include things like an online AP question bank with actual previously administered AP exam questions, performance dashboards that will help teachers track and monitor student progress, and planning guides that outline critical content and skills for major topic areas within a course so that you as teachers can really focus and deepen instruction in the classroom. And for those of you who teach AP, come 2019, we really hope that you'll like all your new teaching assistants. Another program that we launched last summer is a summer study abroad program for students who are preparing to enter AP Chinese language and culture courses. This program, with support from our great partners at Hanban, provides students with an opportunity to study at the Beijing Language and Culture University for 2 weeks. This initiative is called the Language Leap Program, which stands for Learning, Engaging, Applying, Propelling. And we asked students who participated in this initial cohort what they thought of the program, and I wanted to share with you a couple of things that they said. So one student described it as one of a kind, valuable, fun, the most amazing experience of my life. And another one said, I came into the program not even thinking of enrolling in AP, but after taking part, I can now say I am more confident to do so. And so through programs like this, we want to clear a path for students to seize the opportunities that they have in front of them. But in doing so, also bring AP teachers, students who are more confident and excited to engage with the learning of Chinese because they see the possibilities to apply it in so many different ways. And I share these examples with you to say that we understand and share your commitment to empowering students. The College Board is committed to supporting and innovating alongside educators as we all seek to clear a path for students to own their future. And as I close here tonight, I really want to thank all of the people who worked tirelessly to make the National Chinese Language Conference a reality. It takes a tremendous amount of good work and collaboration to bring those events to life, and I want to recognize Bob Davis and his team at the College Board, as well as Jeff Wong and his team at Asia Society for both their hard work and the true spirit of collaboration they bring to the work. This is, as you heard earlier, the 11th year that we're doing this, and we truly value Asia Society's partnership and cooperation here. I also want to thank our colleagues at Hanban for your continued support of the conference, and in particular to Mr. Zhao Guocheng for making the long journey to be here with us today. And thank you to our gracious hosts at the Utah Department of Education for your warm hospitality and energetic collaboration. When I came in earlier today, my team immediately said to me that you have been absolutely amazing in collaborating to get this conference a success, so thank you for that. We're just so thrilled that so many people were able to visit Utah and see the excellent work that you're doing in your schools here. And lastly, I really want to thank all of you, all of the panelists, speakers, presenters, and participants for being here. As Dr. Jackson said earlier, this conference is really about you and about bringing together the community. So thank you for your rich contributions, not only to the conference, but also to the field of Chinese language learning. Have a wonderful conference, everyone. Thank you.
Please welcome the Deputy Chief Executive of the Confucius Institute headquarters and the Executive Deputy Director General of Hanban, Zhao Guocheng.
掌声有请孔子学院总部副总干事、国家汉办副主任赵国成先生。
尊敬的 Howard Stephenson 议员，尊敬的亚洲协会副会长 Tony Jackson 先生，大会理事会副主席 Jim Montoya 先生，林德刘女士，以及钟美强基金会主席 John Howden 先生，各位朋友们、女士们、先生们，大家晚上好。
Honorable Governor Gary Herbert, Honorable Senator Howard Stevenson, Mr. Tony Jackson, Mr. Jim Montoya, Madam Linda Liu, Mr. John Holden, ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
这次来犹他州参加全美中文大会，看到在座的有1300多位美国汉语教学界的各位同行和支持者们，心情非常激动，而且感到由衷的高兴。
I'm thrilled and excited to take part in the National Chinese Language Conference 2018 in Utah and meet over 1,300 American colleagues and supporters of Chinese language teaching.
请大家谅解啊，我今天呢只能用中文来完成我的演讲，我的英文实在是太差了。我通过这个犹他大学的孔子学院 请来了这位23岁的小伙子做我今天的翻译，他的名字叫 Taylor Corin。他主修的是会计和金融专业，同时呢，从这个高中就开始学习中文，因为他希望未来从事中美贸易的相关的工作。我祝福他能在不远的将来能够践行自己的理想，完成从课堂到职业生涯的晋级。
Please allow me to deliver my speech in Chinese today. The Confucius Institute at the University of Utah helped me find an interpreter, me, a 23-year-old gentleman majoring in accounting and finance. He began learning Chinese when he was in high school because he wants to find a job related to Sino-American trade. I hope that he will realize his dream in the not-too-distant future. Thank you.
看到这个 Taylor 呢，我也不禁想到我年轻的时候，这个我生在60年代的时候，这个和我同辈的或者比我再年长一点的人啊，都知道，这个当时中国人在学校里接触到的大部分是俄文。
Tyler reminds me of myself when I was young. I was born in the 1960s when most of the Chinese were learning Russian as a foreign language at school.
所以我可以用俄文讲，但是呢，今天可能没人能听懂，里边可能有几个能听懂俄文的。这个在我工作的时候啊，是正好80年代了。这个中国的改革开放，开始，到今年是40周年了。这个当时中国人开始走出国门，发现外面的世界的变化之大，超乎想象。对外的合作、引进项目、学习新科技等等，无不需要精通英语。于是在中国就进入了一个全民学英语的火热年代。当时呢，我们这个英语的教材非常非常少，很多人呢都是靠听广播来学习的。我记着当时有一套这个英语教材哈，好像是 BBC 这个开发的一个经典的英语学习节目，叫 Follow Me， 几乎成了当时所有中国英语学习者的启蒙教材。我当时接触英语的时候学的也是这个教材，所以可能就因为这个没学好，到现在英语说不好。这股英语学习的浪潮呢，一直延续到了今天。据报道呢，现在中国已经掌握或正在学习英语的人已经超过了有3亿人，比美国人口还多。在中国，由于英语被视作是开拓眼界、融入世界的工具，按照教育部门的统一规定，中国的学校从小学开始，英语就和中文、数学并列为必修课。学生和家长也都普遍认为，熟练掌握英语是未来职业生涯中最重要的竞争力之一。
I began to work in the 1980s, not too long after the introduction of the Reform and Opening Policy in 1978. Since then, more and more Chinese have traveled abroad. This made us aware of the huge gap between China and the world, and we wanted to collaborate with international companies, introduce projects from overseas, and learn high technology. All these require a mastery of the English language. That decade, therefore, witnessed an English mania in China. So back then, we didn't have a lot of English textbooks, and many of us learned English by listening to radio programs. I still vividly remember Follow Me, a TV series program produced by the BBC. It served as an introduction to English for almost every English learner in China. That mania has continued to this day. It has been reported that the number of Chinese who are learning English or who have grasped English has already exceeded 300 million people, which is a little bit more than, or about the population of America. In China, English is seen as a tool for widening opportunities and integrating into the world. As a result, the Chinese Ministry of Education requires that English, along with Chinese and mathematics, is a required course starting in elementary school. Most Chinese parents and students agree that mastery of English is a critical component in career competitiveness.
记得在2009年，在TED年度演讲上，有一位美国的企业家叫 Jay Walker， 曾经谈到过关于世界英语学习的浪潮的原因。 他讲的话，他的原因，他说啊，并不是因为美国促使出现这些英语学习的浪潮，而是因为全世界的需要。
At the 2009 TED conference, Mr. Jay Walker, an American entrepreneur, explained why so many people around the world are trying to learn English. He suggested that it was not because America was pushing it, but because the world is pulling it.
近年来，随着中国的经济的快速的发展，汉语在国际交流中的作用日益的凸显，汉语热呢一直在持续的升温。由于工作的原因呢，我接触到了非常多的各个国家的汉语的学习者，他们呢热衷于中国语言文化学习的原因，其实呢和中国人学习英语的原因是一样的，都是为了开阔眼界和获取更多的职业发展的机会。所以截止到目前，除了中国之外，全球学习和使用汉语的人已经达到了1亿人，共有70多个国家和地区通过颁布法令、政令等各种形式，把汉语纳入到了自己本国的国民教育体系之中。
In recent years, the importance of Chinese is growing in international exchanges thanks to China's rapid economic growth. Because of my work, I have met numerous Chinese learners who are learning Chinese and the Chinese culture to broaden their horizon and gain more career opportunities. Exactly the same with the English learners in China before. Up to now, some 100 million people outside of China are learning Chinese and speaking Chinese. In over 70 countries and territories, policies have been enacted so that Chinese is incorporated into the national education system.
如何更好的、更高质量的来回应这些来自世界各地的需求，将汉语这项公共产品更好的推荐给全世界，这是孔子学院的使命，也是我和我的同事们每天都在思考并为之努力的课题。
It is the mission of the Confucius Institutes to better respond to such demands and better promote Chinese, a public good, to the world. This is also something that my colleagues and I have been thinking about and working on every day.
在所有这些需要汉语的国家和地区中，最早提出资源支持需求的，而且是需求量最大的国家就是美国。我们现在所在的犹他州是美国沉浸式语言课程和中文学习推广力度最大的州之一。州政府设立的关键语言项目顾问委员会引领着州内中文项目的推进。今天中午，我参加了一场旨在深化犹他州和汉办在汉语教学方面合作的活动。在交流中得知，犹他州开设中文沉浸式项目的学校已经从2009年的8所小学发展到了32所小学、23所中学，学生人数也超过了1万。从2018到2019学年，还将新增9所中文沉浸式的中学。这个成绩可以说是相当令人瞩目的，但是依然不能满足所有学生和家长的需求。这充分说明了美国民众对中国语言文化的强烈需求。
Of all the countries and territories, the United States was among the first to seek our support and has the largest demand. The state of Utah is one of the leaders in immersion language programs and Chinese programs throughout the country. The advisory committee of the Critical Languages Program, set up by the state government of Utah, has spearheaded the promotion of the Chinese language program within the state. Earlier today, I took part in an event intended to deepen collaboration between Utah and Hanban in Chinese language teaching. I learned that the number of schools with dual language immersion programs in Chinese in Utah has grown from 8 elementary schools in 2009 to 32 elementary schools and 23 junior high schools this year, with over 10,000 students taking Chinese classes at present. And there will be 9 junior high schools joining this Chinese DLI program next year, which is quite impressive. But it still has not met the needs of all the students and their parents. This is a good indicator of the American people's enthusiasm for Chinese and the Chinese culture.
面对这种迫切的需求，过去10年，美国的汉语教学发展非常的迅速。取得这样的成效，首先得益于美国联邦、各州和地方政府的支持和引领，相关的教育机构的大力推动。更重要的是，成千上万从事汉语教学的一线教育工作者的辛勤努力。汉办很高兴能够参与其中，与美国各界 共同携手为汉语学习者创造更多学习的渠道，这个是我们工作的核心。
The Chinese language teaching has gained great momentum from the increasing demand across the U.S. during the past decade. I dare say that these outcomes were achieved with the support and leadership from the federal, state, and local governments, the assistance from various educational institutions throughout the U.S., and more importantly, the continuous hard work from thousands of educators. My colleagues and I are so happy and proud to be able to work together with communities across the United States to increase access to learning Chinese language and Chinese culture. And we're so thankful for the hard work that teachers and students are doing every day. You are the heart of everything that we do.
我们与美国教育机构合作共建孔子学院，通过赴美汉语教师志愿者为数万汉语学习者创造了学习的机会，邀请了8600名中小学校长和教育官员到中国访问，促成了近1000对的中美学校建立了校际合作关系，为教师和学生交流项目创造了条件，并且通过汉语桥来华夏令营邀请了14200多大中学生到中国访学。我们还与合作伙伴一起共同采集美国汉语教学的优秀实践案例，向公众免费提供，并欣然发现这些资源得到了全球，不光是美国，是全球众多中文教师的认可。
We made valuable friendships and partnerships with educational institutions in the United States to establish Confucius Institutes. We have selected and dispatched thousands of Chinese language teachers and volunteers to the United States, creating Chinese learning opportunities for hundreds of thousands of learners in the country. Through the Chinese Bridge for American Principals delegation, some 8,600 elementary and high school principals, as well as education administrators, have visited China. Nearly 1,000 American schools have established partnerships with Chinese schools, creating exchange programs for their teachers and their students. Through the Chinese Bridge Summer Camp, some 14,200 high school students and college students have taken part in study abroad programs in China. We have been working with partners to document best practices in pedagogy in Chinese classrooms and to make them freely available. We are pleased to see that thousands of teachers from around the world have found them useful.
其实比起刚才我说的这些数字啊，我们觉得更令人感到欣慰的是看到那些参与到中文项目中的这些学生，他们个体身上所发生的变化。
These numbers aside, what impresses me the most are the individuals who took part in these Chinese programs.
比如在纽约州的宾汉顿大学戏曲孔子学院，有一名名字叫白科，他的英文名字是 Kerry Buck， 对吧？的女孩，自2010年这个孔子学院成立的开始，就开始学习中文和京剧。2014年在参加汉语桥世界大学生中文比赛的时候，与来自100多个国家的选手同台竞技，并且获得了3等奖。2015年大学毕业以后，他成功的应聘戏曲孔子学院的院长助理，致力于帮助更多青少年了解中国语言文化，其专业精神和工作能力得到了一致赞扬。在上个月，还获得了宾汉顿大学的大学职员杰出服务奖的表彰。
Kerry Buck, a former student of the Confucius Institute of Chinese Opera at Bingham University, New York, began to learn Chinese and Peking opera in 2010 when the CI was established. In 2014, she took part in the Chinese Bridge Proficiency Competition for foreign college students and competed with competitors from over 100 countries and won 3rd prize. When she graduated in 2015, she became assistant to the director of the Confucius Institute. Her devotion and professionalism in helping American students learn about the Chinese language and the culture has been highly recognized, and she was given an Outstanding Service Award by Bingham University last month.
有这个奥古斯塔大学孔子学院的有一个学员叫瑞秋可莱，就是 Rachel Clay， 他讲到哈，就是通过学习汉语课和中医课，他接触到了中国的道家的哲学，阴阳平衡的思想，然后对缓解和平复他手术后的抑郁和焦虑的情绪带来了意想不到的积极效果。他现在正在计划要去上海教英语， 继续丰富对汉语和中国文化的认知。
Rachel Clay, a student from the Confucius Institute at Augusta University, learned about the Taoist yin-yang balance through taking courses in Chinese and traditional Chinese medicine. She said that it unexpectedly helped her relieve her depression and anxiety after her surgery. She now plans to teach English in Shanghai while learning more about the Chinese and the Chinese culture.
另外还有这个河景国际小学的孔子课堂有2个可爱的孩子，他们叫 Camilla Carter 和这个中文名字是康可米，还有一个叫康天明，是 Todd Carter。他们呢是2个人呢，都是来自听障家庭，就是听不见啊有聋的这个家庭。然后父母呢，因为这个先天失聪，但是呢，他们非常重视孩子们的语言学习。这2个孩子呢，都加入了学校的中文晨寝项目，现在经常参加孔子学院的社区表演活动，并担任小主持人，用中文和英文和手语进行3语的主持。这个姐姐叫康可米的这个姐姐呢，她的志向是要努力学会中国的手语，未来呢到中国去和中国的聋哑人用手语进行交流。
Camila and Todd Carter are 2 cute kids from the Riverview International Academy Confucius classroom, and they come from a hearing-impaired family. Although their parents suffer from congenital hearing loss, they pay special attention to the language acquisition of their children. Both Camila and Todd are in the Chinese immersion program, and they often host performances of the Confucius Institute in Chinese, English, and sign language. Camila hopes to learn Chinese Sign Language so that one day she can communicate with hearing-impaired Chinese citizens in the future.
还有一个小学4年级的叫克里斯亚当森的孩子，他是通过孔子学院的新6艺项目接触到了这个竹心算，这是发源于中国的一个古老的计算的方法。他虽然眼睛无法看到算珠，但是他呢通过双手的努力学习，然后今年春天克里斯参加在新加坡举办的国际珠心算大赛，并且获奖，被称为盲人珠算神童。他积极乐观享受学习的故事，也正在激励着越来越多的人不畏艰难，勇敢向前。
4th grader Christopher Adamson learned mental abacus, a time-honored calculation method that originated in China through the new 6 arts program of the Confucius Institute. Although he is vision impaired, he learned the method with his hands. Chris took part in the International Abacus Mental Math competition held in Singapore last spring, and he won an award. Known as a prodigy of mental abacus, Chris's optimism and diligence has inspired more and more people around the world.
我刚才讲的是一些个人，那么现在我还想再分享一些呢汉语教学的项目如何推动了学校的发展。
I would also like to share with you some examples where the promotion of the Chinese language program has benefited the schools themselves.
圣地亚哥的巴纳德亚太语言学校，2009年学生不足100人，当时呢是面临着要停办了。那么在圣地亚哥州立大学孔子学院的帮助下，他们开始开设汉语教学的项目。那么这几年，他的学员满员达到了500人，现在呢每年都有200人左右还在排队等待着到这学校来的学习的名额。
The Barnard Asian Pacific Language Academy in San Diego had fewer than 100 students in 2009 and was on the verge of closing down. With the support of the Confucius Institute at San Diego State University, the academy initiated a Chinese language program. Now it has reached its enrollment cap of 500 students, and some 200 students are on the waiting list every year.
犹他州的 Piper Riddle 校长在任德雷帕小学校长期间，就大力的推动学校的中文晨寝式项目。在改任西波山谷小学校长以后，他也把中文晨寝式项目带到了新的学校。我知道 Riddle 校长还会在这次的全会的第4个全会上和大家一起分享他的见解。
Ms. Piper Riddle, a principal from Utah, was an enthusiastic supporter of the Chinese immersion program when she was principal at Draper Elementary School. Since she became principal of the Heber Valley Elementary School, she has brought the program there. I'm looking forward to hearing her remarks about her good work later in the conference during Plenary 4.
虽然我没有和这个 Redo 女士面对面的交换过意见，但是我想我们作为教育工作者，我们一定都有着同样的共识，那就是要力争为下一代培养出具有国际化视野的人才。
Although I haven't met Ms. Riddle in person, I believe we share the same goal as educators. That is, we hope our students to develop an international vision for the future.
我们这样做的重要的目的，不仅关乎孩子们个人的未来，也关乎世界的未来。在经济全球化、文化多元化的时代背景下，更要保持不同国家人民之间相互沟通和交流。而掌握一种语言，就是掌握了通往异国文化的钥匙。学会彼此的语言，了解不同文化的差异，相互尊重和理解，方能做到和而不同，携手共谋发展。
This is not only for the future of individuals, but more importantly, the future of the world. In an interconnected and culturally diverse world, we must ensure the exchange and communication across nations. The key to learning a foreign culture is in its language. We can only live in a harmonious world by learning each other's languages, appreciating each other's cultures, as well as respecting and understanding each other.
美国前总统罗纳德·里根先生有句名言，他说：“每一天的开始都带来各种新的可能。能否在每一天都做些让我们走向进步与和平的事情，这都由我们来决定。”我很自豪，我和在座的各位同行们现在都在做着这样的事。
I would like to conclude by quoting a line from President Ronald Reagan, who once said, "Every day begins with possibilities. It's up to us to fill it with the things that move us towards progress and peace." I am proud that all of us here are doing such things on a daily basis.
Thank you very much.